running order for the final number 2 for the Senior Max division. On the front row, it's Hannes Morin in the 219. Alongside him will be Mick Knowlton in the 294. Then it's Max Timmermans and Lars van Vark on row 2. Cubbins Nick and David Remy on row 3. Jordan Brown-Nutley and Miles App make it a British row 4. Cairo Kivi and Rasmus Friedel on row 5. Philip Vava and Tamino Bergmeier on row 6. Jesper Sjöberg and Matilda Olsson on row 7. Ragnar Verus and William Newnham in row 8. Oliver Verhelst and Lagim Ali, row 9. Charlie Anderson and Samuel Harrison, row 10. Well, it looks like it's Harrison, Lahaye in 20th, Breuer, Belishin, Walter, Heinrich, Buthon, Bock, Jensen, Barrett, Baldessar, Rundqvist, Hornbachner, Parviainen and Strand. So it looks like we have a do not starter, and that person is Lagim Ali in the 220. So already we will have 33 competitors now going into battle for the final time. So this is the last bit of competition for the Senior Max division before we see them in Sweden in a few weeks' time. But 14 minutes plus an additional lap for these drivers who are aged over 14 and above. So we will find out very soon who is going to be leading the standings when we depart Belgium today, after the conclusion of the day's action, with the last final race, the final race of the day will be final number 2 for the DD2 and the Masters coming up after this one. So 14 minutes plus a lap. We now have a confirmed 33 driver start grid. The Senior Max division, it's final number 2. And they are now slowing. So on the screen to your left it's Morin, to the right it's Knowlton. So that's your front row with Timmermans, Van Vark, Nick, Remy, Brown-Nutley, Apps, Kivi and Friedel, your top 10. So drivers are now coming across the red line, heading into turn number 10, where 2 marshals are showing the yellow flag conditions. Red lights are on the starting gantry. We are about to go racing in Senior Max for the final time this weekend on Sunday afternoon, April 22nd. To conclude their first round of the 2018 Rotax Max Euro Trophy season, and we go racing. And it's Hannes Morin at the front of the field, and it looks like Timmermans is going to push for second, and he goes up the inside and takes the lead from Hannes Morin on the very first corner, and several carts going wide, and there's bumping and barging. Oh, and there's a melee in the middle, and that has sent carts everywhere. That is at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll make that 8 carts because 2 have pulled to the side. So that has really changed the order. So yellow flags just off of turn 2, marshal post number 2. And as drivers are trying to help the marshals move the carts. So Harrison looks to be one of them in the 284. So leaders now coming around, and leading is the very opportunistic Belgian in the form of Max Timmermans, who is now leading by just over half a second from Hannes Morin, who started on pole. Mick Knowlton in second, Lars van Vark in fourth. Friedel has gone from 10th to 5th in that opening lap. Olsson is in 6th ahead of Apps, Vava, Bergmeier, Newnham. So let's see a little bit further down the order. Well, Bradley Barrett has made up 3 places in that first lap alone. Could we have another call for Bart de Wit, number 326, to make their way to the stewards immediately, please? Bart de Wit, number 326, can you make your way to the stewards? So 12 minutes, 54 seconds, and an additional lap to go. So we have Timmermans in the lead, and we are going quicker as this track is fast evolving, with all drivers, I think, having decided to go on slicks, but it may have been a little bit of water patches that might have caught a couple of drivers out. So out are Buthorn, Harrison, Remy as well in the 255. So that was one of the big contenders in having started 6th. So Timmermans leads from Morin, Knowlton, Friedel, Olsson. As there are changes happening, and it's side by side between 2 competitors, pod to pod, going into turn number 4 on the exit of turn 3. So Van Vark now in 6th position, Olsson now in 5th, Friedel up to 4th from 10th on the grid. So leaders now starting to come through turn 7, now into the 180-degree left-hander at turn number 8. And Timmermans has extended the gap between himself and Hannes Morin to 7.5 tenths last time around. Could that gap be expanded? Might be the case unless Morin has got a charge. Well, he was 3 tenths of a second, or nearly 3 tenths of a second slow at last lap around, about 2.5 tenths. As Timmermans gets his head down and goes, right, I'm going to pull a gap here. 1.4 seconds between first and second. Friedel now up into third place. And there's more moves and overtaking. And I'm just trying to keep up. Now, Dylan LaHaye is now surging up the order as well. LaHaye started 21st. Now, I think is probably in 9th place as this huge gaggle of carts, and that is from third place onwards, is streaming down in towards turn number 6. So it's Timmermans from Morin, Friedel in 3rd, Olson in 4th, Apps in 5th, Knowlton in 6th, Vava, Van Vark, Boldisar and LaHaye round out the top 10. So it is still too close to call. We still have 10 minutes, 20 seconds, plus an additional lap to go in this Senior Max final number 2. With Timmermans coming through the final corner, down the start finish straight, gets the head down once again, trying to eke out that gap on Hannes Morin, and who crosses the start finish line. I tell you what, it is working at the moment. Timmermans does a 56.674, but who's just set the fastest lap? It's the treble 2 of Bradley Barrett. Currently still sitting in 26th position. But in terms of the overall spread of this field, this is how tightly packed the field is. From first, which is Timmermans in the 242, to 241, Virus in 28th position. The field is spread by 17.5 seconds, with Verhelst in 29th. So we've already had, well, Belashin has also decided not to contest any more in this Senior Max final. And there's a great battle here. This is 232. This is Olson in the 232, ahead of the 210 of Friedel. Apps is there in the wings, as is Philip Vava as well in the 250. Well, Vava drops to 8th position as Knowlton and Van Vark barge their way past. So Olson doing a fantastic job. Matilda Olson started 14th, now in 3rd. So the youngster is doing a great job, as there are changes trying to happen behind, with Apps trying to go past, but Knowlton in the 294 shoots past. So it seems that Timmermans is just getting on with just getting away from everybody else, and is keeping a pretty good gap between himself and Morin, with Olsen doing a really good job in 3rd position, ahead of Friedel now in 4th. So Friedel could be there or thereabouts. No, he's actually overtaken Matilda Olson for 3rd place. So Friedel, who has been on the comeback trail, the comeback kid this weekend, started in both qualifying heats last, but managed to scythe through the field. Started in 10th position, now is hitting, and now hits the top 3. So I'm wondering in terms of the pace. Well, Timmermans last time around did a 56.255. But, wait for it, Bradley Barrett is now 22nd. Blistering lap time from the Brit, 55.808, just this last tour. So, it's got to. I think Bradley is going to try and salvage some pride here after what's been... got it on pole after the qualifying heats, but then didn't have the best of luck in the final earlier on today. But, as I said, that person will come fighting back, and he is now trying to get the bit between his teeth. About 1.2 seconds behind Heinrich in the 252. But hopefully, you never know, that gap might decrease. So, changes again have happened. Van Vark now down in 10th place. Because if you're watching on the live stream, you'll find that we've got the leader streaking away. That's Max Timmermans, then Hannes Morin, Friedel, Olson, Knowlton. Then we go back down to Miles Apps, and looks like there is a huge train there as well. That looks to be from, I think, 6th or 7th position, so that would be indicating the 250 of Vava, who's ahead of Dylan LaHaye, who has come through the field. 21st now is in the top 8, 8th place. So we'll have to try and depose Vava very quickly to make further strides forward. 6.5 minutes on the clock, and coming into shot, it's the 2:10 of Rasmus Friedel, followed by Matilda Olsson, and behind them is Mick Knowlton in the 2:94. So that is the battle that is behind Hannes Morin, who started from pole position, currently second at the moment, 2.9 seconds behind Belgium's Max Timmermans. And Timmermans could do pretty well. This will put him in the top 3 or 4 of the standings after this race if it carries on as it does. But we have just under 6 minutes plus an additional lap to go here, as more changes up and down the field. Bergmeyer now up into 12th position. Walter now into 15th. Bradley Barrett has got past Heinrich, and Breuer now is up into 20th position. Rounding out the field, it's Virus and Verhelst, 28th and 29th. Entire field separated by 18 seconds of all 29 competitors that are still running. We've had one non-starter, Lagim Ali in the 220, Harrison, Boothorn, Remy and Belgian. That's 284, 293, 255 and 227 are no longer taking part in this encounter. And it looks like Rasmus Friedel is getting incredibly racy on the back bumper of Hannes Morin. This is for second. The duo now go down the back straight, and it looks like Friedel has got the toe on Morin, but can't make it through and go past in turn 6. Now they go through and sweep through turn 7. And all the while, this is just allowing Max Timmermans to just control his pace. So this field is now concertinaed in quite a bit in terms of the, as we've got a change for position. Hannes Morin has just been deposed by Mick Knowlton for 3rd position. So again, we find that Mick Knowlton in the 294 is doing, and he's also got past Friedel. That's incredible. 2 corners, and he makes up 2 positions. Does a Max Fleischmann-esque couple of moves in 2 corners. So the 294 definitely has got the pace, but Olsen and Morin get back past through turn 5. And there's a bit of a bump from behind. Matilda Olsen says, well, come on, guys, I want a bit of fun here as well. And I tell you what, she's keeping with them. So Timmermans continues to extend that lead. Last time around was 3.3 seconds. We have 3 minutes 50 on the clock, plus an additional lap to go here in Genk. The final 2 of the Senior Max opening round. And in shot now, it's Friedel ahead of Knowlton. Then you've got Morin as well. Morin is now in 2nd position, having deposed both Friedel and Knowlton at the same time. But right behind them, Apps is now past Matilda Olsson for position. That is 5th now for the Brits. Excuse me. Vava now up into 7th position. Dylan LaHaye is there, and he's in 8th, and he's crawling over the back bumper of Vava, the 250, and is in the slingshot, and goes up the inside. Clean overtake by the Belgian going into turn number 6. So great moves by the 212. Very clean and precise on that occasion. But it seems like Hannes Morin is trying to make some distance between himself and Rasmus Friedel. But I'm sure that Mick Knowlton, we've seen it in final 1, he came storming up the order. So, gap between Timmermans and Morin is now 4.8 seconds, less than 2.5 on the clock. And fastest lap is still held by Bradley Barrett, if we can pick him up somewhere. He's 18th at the moment. He's just got past Sjöberg in the 204. So trying to make a resurgence through the field. And he's less than, well, just over 0.2 of a second off Hornbachner in 17th. But with the pace is clearly showing. And so on lap 12, Bradley Barrett sets the fastest lap of this race, 55.507. So Timmermans comes round turn 11 and 12 and puts the hammer down, goes down the start-finish straight. Does not need to use the nodding dog technique, as I'm going to start calling it, where he puts the head down and just goes for it. Hannes Morin just leans slightly forward in the seat of the cart. as Olson loses out to Dylan LaHaye. Loses out to Dylan LaHaye. LaHaye is has now realised I've got some time left. Got about 90 seconds plus an additional lap to get a little bit further up the order. So top 10, it's Timmermans from Morin by just over 4.8 seconds last tour around. Friedel in third, having started down in 10th position. Knowlton in fourth, Apps in fifth, LaHaye in sixth, having started 21st. Olson in seventh, Vava, Bergmeyer and Van Vark ran out the top 10. The top 15 are completed by Astrand, Newnham, Parviainen, Bolizar and Anderson. And Bradley Barrett is now up into 17th place. Now, can he take a chunk of time out of Walter and Anderson ahead to secure a point to go away with something this weekend after his notable efforts, as Morin goes a little bit wide, as does Friedel, as Apps is trying to get past for fourth position. So 30 seconds remain on the clock here in the Senior Max Final 2. Oh, and there's contact. There's a spinner in the middle of the straight off of turn 5 and 6. So that has really changed the order, and I don't know who those guys are, but I tell you what, that has really changed everything. As Max Timmermans, so the timer has counted down. We are now on to the final lap of the Senior Max action here in Belgium, as Morin is coming under pressure from Mick Knowlton. Friedel was in, and that looks to be, that is Friedel. That is Friedel, Rasmus Friedel, I think, in the 210. That is the cut that is stricken on the back straight, heading down in towards, well, Van Vark's dropped down the order. So Friedel down to 9th, and it was Van Vark and Vava that were the two casualties. So they were in the lower half of the top 10. As Mick Knowlton is looming right behind Hannes Morin for what is second position on the road, as Max Timmermans heads into turn number 9 for the final time. So the Belgian will hopefully be very ecstatic, as there's another change for position. Miles Apps jumps into third on the penultimate corner, and there we go. A very happy Max Timmermans from Belgium takes a win on home soil. This will definitely put him into contention. And oh my goodness, it's a drag race over the line. I can't believe that. 5 wide on the straight. And you know what? Miles Apps, he takes it by literally a whisker. So it was Apps from Knowlton. LaHaye finished 4th, having started 21st. Then it was Hannes Morin, initially points leader coming into the second final. And Matilda Olson in 6th place. Then it was Bergmeyer, Newnham, Friedel and Astrand that completed the top 10. My goodness, have you ever seen a finish like that? That was, I cannot believe my eyes. Just when I thought I saw it all, something else out of the woodwork crawls up and just hits me in the face. And I have to say, Mick Knowlton, that was a standout drive, but Miles Apps from the UK, having started in 8th, takes 2nd. So let's run you through the finishing order of what was a climactic crescendo between 2nd and beyond. It was Max Timmermans who won by 7.27 seconds ahead of Miles Apps. Mick Knowlton takes 3rd ahead of Dylan LaHaye. Hannes Morin in 5th, with Matilda Olson making it a Swedish 5 and 6. Tamino Bergmeyer from Germany in 7th ahead of Newnham, Friedel, Astrand, Anderson, Bradley Barrett, well done. Started 29th, finished in 12th position. So some points for the Brits going home this weekend. Parviainen finished in 13th ahead of Bolizar, and Walter taking the final points scoring position. So there we go. That concludes the Senior Max action for this weekend in Genk for round 1 of the 2018 Rotax Max Euro Trophy.